Welcome to Culture and Placemaking Part 1. I am Dr. Annalise Fonza. I am an urbanist, a womanist, and a lecturer at Cal Poly Pomona. In this course, we'll talk about the role that culture has in shaping and reshaping urban places and how culture has now become one of the pivotal factors in urban planning and development. Much of what I've been doing in my own profession and in my personal life has been connected to a search for identity and to answer the question, who I am, what contributes to my makeup, and what contributions I will make in the world that I'm living in. My opportunities to teach at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, and in other academic institutions have helped me to understand my own cultural roots and my own connection to the city. They also help me to understand myself as a womanist. Womanist is to feminist as purple is to lavender. This phrase was coined by Alice Walker in the 1980s, and it continues to be a feature of academic scholarship of Black women like Dr. Emily Towns, who is the E. Rhodes and Leona B. Carpenter Professor of Womanist Ethics and Society. In this interview, Dr. Towns says about herself and about her journey to womanism, "I don't want to be a part of building a world whose foundation is despair." A big part of what womanists do in their scholarship and in their presentation is love. And as Alice Walker once said, a womanist loves herself regardless. Womanism is a theoretical and a cultural framework that is rooted in the love of self and others. And it's something that we must develop in community and in relationship to trusted others around us. This picture, for example, is illustrative of a womanist consciousness. It also underscores the extraordinary role that Black women have played as individuals and the bearers of life in reframing and transforming Black history, culture, and policy, even as it pertains to planning history and theory. One of the most important figures that I know in urban planning is Dr. June Manning Thomas, who is now retired, but has written a new book called Struggling to Learn. This book chronicles her own experience in struggling to learn in South Carolina during her youth. She recalls an encounter with one of her former classmates who said to her, "We didn't treat you too bad in high school, June, did we?" June says, "Why, of course you did. But when I saw you a few years after high school, you worked at another shop as a salesperson and you spoke to me and were very nice on that day." I look forward to reading this book as she continues to learn and as she continues to be an inspiration in my life. Having said that, this course is grounded in the idea that through the expression of cultural identity, we are empowered in our personal lives, but we're also empowered in our professional lives to become co-creators in the places where we live. And it is empowerment that has led and will continue to lead the transformation of urban places as we know them today. Perhaps it is now that planners begin to think in terms of a cultural revolution and how it is now one of the most powerful tools used by groups of residents to transform urban communities and landscapes. In this course, we'll explore the notion that cities are the site of human meaning, purpose, and identity. We'll learn what is meant by or constitutes the word urban, which is often misunderstood exclusively in terms of color or socioeconomic class. As we become more reliant on computer devices, we run the risk of losing our connection to both people and place. Therefore, we'll talk about root shock and what we can do about it. We'll discuss the colonial origins of the American landscape and explore the idea that perhaps we are a country with an open wound and we have a national crisis that needs to be solved. We will also consider how we're now on the battleground for control of a narrative of our national identity. Abolitionists and social justice icons, as well as planners, are now responding to the narrative of American exceptionalism. We will end this course thinking about the way forward and how we will lead in an emancipatory way to challenge the American narrative of exceptionalism. Join me now in the second chapter where we'll talk about the power of a story.